Ayan. Can, can you hear me po?
Yes, I can hear you clear. How I am coming there.
Yes, very clear.
Very clear. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Okay na po. Thank you.
Mic test. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning
Hi,
po.
Ma'am Jessa. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello
Glad to see you
again, Ma'am
again.
Bicolen.
Yes.
Nice to see you again po.
Yes po.
Good morning, everyone on Zoom and on Facebook Live.
First of all, I would like to thank the regional office of the Commission on Higher Education, led by our director, Ma'am Maura Cristobal, for supporting this series of seminars, of webinars we are conducting. And of course, I would like to welcome in this webinar my friend from CHED, Dr. Nani M. Galedo, Education Supervisor, who is ably representing our regional director. Again, also I'd like to welcome in this webinar Ma'am Emily T. Ticolin, one of our resource persons, who will be properly introduced later, and Dr. Mario Mayong G. Albia Agoha from the Philippine Sociological Society. So they will be giving us a lot of inputs as we conduct this webinar. And I would like to welcome our students from this university and other students from other universities and colleges in the region who are joining us via Facebook Live. My dear students, we always emphasize that ISATU cares for your welfare. And we are not only here to provide you the skills, the knowledge. We are also very much concerned with your psycho-sociological development. So we always emphasize that if you are ISATU, we always talk about holistic development. In education, there are three domains of learning: the affective, the psychomotor, and the cognitive. Useless each without the other. So you have to take care of you by providing you the affective domains of this learning. And this is through our webinar today, where we have to discuss and listen to our resource persons on how we can win against this crisis we are facing today, brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. I know many of our students have these anxieties. When we talk about flexible learning, when we talk about the new normal, a lot of questions came into your mind. How could you adapt to this new normal with the absence of connectivity, with the financial problems, with the change of our curriculum or the restructuring of the curriculum, with so many issues bothering your minds? How can you overcome these things? So from our resource persons, you will really learn a lot and be properly guided. So I would like to thank our God and Development Center, led by Ma'am Emily de la Cruz, for initiating this series of webinars. As we promised in the first webinar, there will be another one because we take care of the welfare of our students. If we give opportunity to our faculty to attend webinars. We have also to provide opportunity for our students. And later, we may also conduct a webinar for our parents because we believe our parents is also one of the major stakeholders of our educational system, and they should know very well what's happening now in the new normal in this university. So my dear students, make the best out of this webinar. If you have questions later on, don't hesitate to raise it. And I know our experts, our invited resource persons are very much willing to share with you everything that you need, especially on how we could overcome anxieties amidst this COVID-19 pandemic. Once again, welcome, and may the good Lord bless us all in this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muyong, for taking the lead in making this webinar possible in collaboration with the Commission on Higher Education Region 6 and the Gender and Development Office of ESETU, led by Professor Emily de la Cruz. This webinar aims to remind us all that mental health is equally important as physical health. And today, we are hoping to learn more to empower ourselves so we may in turn empower others. At this juncture, I would like to present to you the Education Supervisor of the Commission on Higher Education Region 6. To give her message, please all welcome Dr. Neni M. Galedo.
Good. Hello. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. To the President of the Iloilo Science and Technology University, Dr. Raul Moyong, resource persons for today's activity, the lead organizer of this activity, and the God focal person of the institution, Professor Emily de la Cruz, fellow educators, and of course, our dear students, good morning. The COVID-19 pandemic has likely brought many changes to our life, and with it, uncertainty altered daily routines, financial pressure, and social isolation. You may worry about getting sick, how long the pandemic will last, and what the future will bring. Information overload, humors, and misinformation sometimes can make your life feel out of control and make it unclear on what to do. During the COVID-19 pandemic, perhaps you have experienced stress, anxiety, fear, sadness, and loneliness. And mental disorders, including anxiety, can worsen. Self-care strategies are good for your mental health and physical health, and can help you take charge of your life. Take care of your body and mind, and connect with another to benefit mental health. How we cope or respond to the outbreak depends on how our background, the things that makes you different from other people, and the community you live in. But the important thing is to remember you are not alone in this journey. Don't be afraid. While you may not be able to control all the circumstances, you grow from focusing on the aspects of life's challenges you can manage with the help and support of the loved ones and trusted professionals. As we move on, let's forget the old normal and embrace the new normal in order for us to survive and have a happy and healthy life. So on behalf of our Regional Director, Dr. Maura Consolacion Cristobal, I would like to congratulate, commend ESAT University for having this kind of activity to prepare our students to cope or respond positively to the new normal. So thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Neni Galedo, for your full support to this endeavor of Iloilo Science and Technology University. We are sure that as one united higher education academic community in Western Visayas, we rise above the challenges brought about by this unprecedented time. Now it is with pleasure that I introduce to all of you our first esteemed resource speaker who will talk about making sense of what we are going through, the COVID-19 crisis, as our first topic for the webinar this morning. He currently is the president of the Philippine Sociological Society. He is a full professor at the Department of Sociology of the Mindanao State University, General Santos City, Philippines, where he teaches undergraduate sociology courses and graduate courses in public administration, sustainable development studies, and Philippine studies. He holds a PhD in International Cooperation Studies from the Nagoya University, Japan. He has an MA in Sociology at the University of the Philippines in Diliman and an AB in Sociology at the MSU General Santos City. He was an International Research Fellow at the Graduate School of Sociology at the University of Tokyo, Japan. He took up graduate studies in comparative culture with specialization in international economics and development studies at Sophia University in Tokyo, Japan. He is a son of Mindanao and is actively involved in various Culture of Peace initiatives in Mindanao. He is currently a member of the Independent Decommissioning Body, or IDB, a 7-member body tasked to oversee the process of decommissioning of MILF forces and weapons. His research interests include Mindanao peace and development, sustainable development goals, and security sector reform. Furthermore, he was a member of the House of Representatives of the Philippine Congress during the 12th and 13th Congresses. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Mario Mayong J. Agua.
Yep. Thank you very much. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for the kind introduction, Ms. Jesa. I would like to thank our president, Dr. Muyong, and the head of CHED region, Dr. Galledo, for this very important event. I think it's very timely that the university undertakes this kind of event in the midst of the crisis to create a new community. Kailangan natin ng bagong community, and for now, this is a virtual community na kailangan ng ating mga estudyante. And I heard from Dr. Raul that there will be efforts also to bring the parents. I think that will be very, very important also because we are in a state of flux. No? We really do not know what will happen in the coming days, and therefore, on day-to-day, I think administrators are trying their best to respond to the crisis. But we all know, hindi siya madali at bakit nga tayo may crisis, yun po ang aking babahagi sa inyo sa umagang ito. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat dyan. Nung bata pa po ako, sabi ng nanay ko, dapat sosyal ka anak. Galing ho ako sa mahirap na pamilya. No? I live a life from elementary to high school selling pandesal and other things. No? And my parents are separated. So sabi ng nanay ko, kahit mahirap tayo ay sosyal ka. Kaya ako ho ay kumuha ng sociology. No? Ang ibig sabihin ng aking nanay na sosyal ka, tayo dapat ay kayang makisalamuha kahit ano yung ating kalagayan, kaya nating makisalamuha sa ibang tao. No? And for my mom, that's a very, very important thing. Dahil yung pakikisalamuha, yan ay malaking bahagi para sa survival nating lahat. At para nga po maging sosyal, ay nag-AB Sociology ako, nag-master ako ng Sociology sa UP, tapos hindi pa ho enough, ay nag-Japayuki po ako. No? Napunta ng Japan, nag-aral doon, para nga na maintindihan yung mga bagay na mahalagang maintindihan natin. And that brings me to the field of sociology at bakit may krisis tayo ngayon. No? Ano ba yung pinag-uugatan ng krisis na ito? No? Sabi nila, ang ugat ng krisis na ito ay epidemiological dahil may virus, no? Pero lumala yung krisis hindi lang dahil sa virus, kundi kung paano tayo nag-respond sa virus na ito. Our economic, social, and political responses created a crisis in itself, no? Kaya hirap na hirap tayo ngayon. Of course, wala naman sa atin na naka-experience ng ganitong crisis in our lives, no? Kahit yung mga dumaan ng World War II, hindi po ganito klase yung krisis na kanilang dinaanan. Matindi itong krisis na ito. As sociologists, we always believe na we are all syempre, doon sa mga estudyante na nag-aral na dumaan ng senior high, na we are all social by nature. No, we are not alone. The only way for us to survive is basically to be with others. Kaya nung pinanganak tayo, may parents tayo or somebody that took care para palakihin tayo. And as a social being, we became part of different groups or different communities na sinasabi natin. Kaya when we introduce ourselves, napakilala ho natin ang ating sarili, actually ang ina-introduce natin ay yung mga social groups na bahagi tayo. Halimbawa, pag in-introduce mo yung iyong family name, sinasabi mo na bahagi ka ng pamilya na yan. Pag in-introduce mo ang iyong school, sinasabi mo bahagi ka ng community na yan. Or in-introduce mo yung iyong religion and other groups na bahagi po tayo. Because at the end of the day, what makes us what we are is basically determined by the social groups that we are part of. And therefore, we all try our best all this life, no? We try our best to be part of a group, no? To be with others. Sabi nga nila, to be the person for others determines basically our success in life. And that what makes us a social being today. No? In sociology, meron kaming tinatawag na sociological imagination. Our field is about sociological imagination. It's basically imagining how our personal lives ay nakatali doon sa mga nangyayari sa ating lipunan. Halimbawa, kung ang tatay mo nawalan ng trabaho, ito ay nakadikit doon sa kawalan ng trabaho dahil sa COVID crisis. No? So yung mga nangyayari sa ating mga buhay-buhay ay bahagi ito ng mga nangyayari sa mas malawak nating communities. So, it's where sociology is coming from in our understanding of the crisis. No? Yung crisis po natin, maaaring ito ay virus ang pinagsimulan. Kaya nung early days ay mahalaga ang papel na ginagampanan ng ating mga medical practitioners. Pero lumala po itong krisis na ito dahil din sa mga responses natin sa krisis na ito. No? So, yung socio-economic part as our responses to solve the crisis in a way contributed to the crisis. No? Nung mga bata pa po tayo hanggang ngayon, ang atin pong orientation palagi ay you should be with your friends, you go to your school, to be with your friends, and you should be good with your classmates. Tapos in the community, dapat nagmamano tayo sa mga matatanda. Pag tayo ay may problema or kahit walang problema, dapat nagpapasalamat tayo sa Diyos. Then we go to church. No? So from the early age, we were trained to be with others. Then suddenly now, we're told, kailangan natin ng physical distancing, iwasan natin to be with other people. No? Kaya karamihan sa atin ngayon ay hindi pa rin nakakapunta ng simbahan. Halimbawa, kasi pinagbabawal pa ang pagpunta ng simbahan. Marami sa atin ay hindi nakita yung ating mga kaibigan for the longest time kasi pinagbawal sa atin to be with them. No? At ngayon, sa pagbubukas ng klase, di ba, napaka-strange, no? From grade 1 up to today, ang klase is to be with teachers and classmates physically. But now, we cannot do it because of the crisis na dahil nga baka maipasa natin yung virus na yan. So tinuruan tayo ng mga bagay na para iwasan, yung pag-transmit ng virus na yan. At marami ito ay bago sa atin. No? Halimbawa, physical distancing. Tayong mga Pilipino, very touchable kita. No? We want to touch our friends. We want to shake hands. Ako, I really love beso-beso. I have not done any beso-beso for the last 3 months. No? But we have been trained to be like that. No? We like to interact with teachers and teachers to our students that we see them, hindi lang natin na kinakausap sila. Dapat pag kinakausap natin, ang sabi sa atin, dapat ay face-to-face, tapos may eye contact. Ngayon ay restricted na tayong gawin yan. No? At ang effect niyan sa atin ay may mga bagay na kailangan nating gawin na hindi natin nakasanayan. Una ay kailangan na i-maintain natin yung physical distance. Kaya daming violation po ng physical distance kasi para sa ating Pinoy, all these years, we are trained to be close with each other, then suddenly you are told to distance with each other. We are told na dapat naka-mask tayo. Diyos ko, Lord. Oo, marami hong kababayan natin na for the first time in their life, ngayon lang gumamit ng mask. Parang it's so unnatural, no? Yung iba dyan, nahirapan ka pa kasi they have to do, nasanay na yung mga estudyante dyan na mag-lipstick, mag-makeup. Tapos ngayon, magmamask ka. So parang walang lipstick at saka lipstick and mask in your face na kailangan gawin. Bago ito sa ating lahat. Hindi natin nakasanayan. No? Kaya maraming violations ng rules na ito. Sinabi sa atin na dapat naghuhugas tayo palagi ng kamay na running water na malinis. Hindi rin natin nakasanayan po yan. No? In fact, in many communities of ours and many schools of ours, may problema nga sila ng potable waters. So, ito yung nagdala ng krisis. Ang krisis ay dahil sina-challenge ng kasalukuyang pagkakataon yung mga bagay-bagay that we value or we treasure. It's where the social crisis gets into the picture. No? May mga values tayo na itinuro sa atin, tapos ngayon ay na-challenge sa kasalukuyang kalagayan natin. Halimbawa, the value for people of going to church. No? Na hindi mo nagagawa ngayon. Ma-imagine mo na how do you imagine doing the things that you were trained to do when you go to church? No? You do communion, lumuluhod ka sa altar, pero hindi mo na nagagawa ngayon. So all of this affects not only our relationship with others, but affects us emotionally as well. I think our other resource person, si Ma'am Emily Dicolin, will be talking on this also. But what we are feeling now, as individuals and ourselves, is basically a product of what happened to our social interactions, no? Nawala kasi yung ating mga interactions na yun. At dito yung crisis, no? Yung mga mahalagang values natin. Halimbawa, yung value ng buhay, mahalaga sa atin yan. No? Itinuro sa atin yan. So ngayon ay nalilito tayo how safe we are. Baka tayo ay ma-infect ng virus na yan. Kaya bang tugunan ng medical facility sa halimbawa dyan sa Iloilo pag kayo ay nag-positive? No? Paano natin masasabi na yung katabi mo or kausap mo ay hindi siya COVID positive? So, nag-create ng personal na crisis yan sa atin palagi. Every time we meet other people, pag iniisip natin, wala kaya itong COVID, safe kaya yung mga tao na yan, and etc. So mahalaga yung value natin ng buhay. Mahalaga rin yung value ng hanap buhay. Yung crisis na ito, lalo na nung nag-lockdown tayo, maraming kababayan natin ang naapektuhan. Dahil marami ho tayong kababayan na nabubuhay lang sa araw-araw na kita. No? And yet, nung nag-lockdown tayo, walang kita yung mga yan. No? I'm sure kasama dyan ang ilang magulang ng ating mga estudyante. And nung wala pang krisis, mahirap nang mag-survive on a day-to-day basis yung ating mga kababayan sa usapin ng hanap buhay. And yet, nung nag-lockdown tayo, mas lalong naging mahirap yung kanilang buhay. No? And yung tugon ng ating pamahalaan ay kapos para tugunan yung pangangailangan ng ating pamilya. No, yung Special Assistance Program na nakapag first tranche na, wala pang second tranche, ay maliit na pera o tulong sa ating mga kababayan base sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan bilang pamilya. Swerte nga yung iba dyan na dahil nag-COVID, nag-lockdown ho tayo, wala silang trabaho, pero sumisweldo. No? Pero kukunti lang po yan, minority po yan sa ating mga kababayan. Karamihan po ng ating mga magulang, ng ating mga estudyante, ay walang mga regular na income. At ito yung nagdala ng maraming krisis and magdala rin ng maraming uncertainty sa ating mga pamilya, lalo na sa ating mga estudyante. Kasi ang problema ho natin ng COVID na ito, hindi natin alam kung kailan siya matatapos. Mabuti pa yung earthquake dahil alam natin pag shake niya, aftershocks na lang yan. No? Or yung typhoon, pag dumaan, alam natin lilipas at lilipas agad yan. Si COVID ay dahil virus ho ito, not until tayo ay naka-develop ng vaccine, the danger of it is always there. No? The danger is always there. And therefore, it creates uncertainty. Hindi natin alam kailan matatapos. Magla-lockdown ba uli? Hindi natin alam. No? At lahat ito ay nagdadala ng uncertainty even to our educational institutions. No? Kaya I'm sure sila Dr. Raul and our faculty members nagplaplano ng maraming senaryo. What if? No? Kasi bago sa ating lahat, mahirap nga magturo sa mga estudyante kung face-to-face. No? Extra effort na si ma'am. Kailangan na ni ma'am na magturo, sumayaw sa klase para mapaliwanag sa mga estudyante. And now ay hindi natin magawa yon. Sabi sa atin ay maging flexible tayo. At marami sa ating mga guro na nag-i-imagine, kaya ba nating gawin yan? No? We have to go online. Of course, maganda hong pakinggan, pero hindi ho madaling gawin yan. No? Mag-flexible tayo, may online, tapos yung mga estudyante na walang connection, dapat ay mag-modular. So, ibig sabihin lang ho nun sa teacher, mag-prepare siya ng kanyang online material. So, si ma'am, mapipilitan mag-aral ng online, no, and develop online materials, but at the same time, kailangan niya ring mag-develop ng modular materials para sa mga estudyante na walang access. So yun yung challenge sa atin as an educational institution, no? Of course, kami ay naniniwala, a bad teacher, whether he is online or not online, will remain to be a bad teacher. No, hindi ho mababago yung kalidad ng ating pagtuturo pag yung teacher ay from the very start ay problematic na. Mas malaki ang hamon sa atin, how do we exactly communicate with our student during this time of crisis? Nung nagka-crisis po, no? So una, ito ay challenge sa mga values natin, no? Values related sa buhay, sa hanap buhay, yung values natin sa pakikipagkapwa, no? To be with friends, to be with other people, ay nabago lahat yan, no? So, notwithstanding pa yung usapin ngayon at pangangailangan ng social solidarity sa maraming kababayan natin na hirap sila para iangat yung kanilang sarili sa krisis na ito. Yung krisis na ito po ay nagpakita rin ng mga fault lines ng ating lipunan. Ang epekto ng krisis na ito ay depende sa kalagayan ng ating mga kababayan before the crisis. Iba ang effect nito doon sa mayamang pamilya o sa pamilyang may kaya at doon sa mga pamilyang hirap na wala pa man yung COVID crisis. At ito ay namamagnify niya yung difference na yon at the height of the crisis. Halimbawa, sa mga pamilyang may maayos na buhay, maayos ang kalagayan sa buhay, during the crisis, pag lockdown, sila ay nasa Netflix kasi may internet sila, may computer sila, may malaki silang bahay, hindi nila puproblemahin yung araw-araw na kakainin nila. Pero sa mga kababayan nating hirap, no, kanang ginatawag bitaw natong kabus, timawa, pobreng alindahaw, gidaog-daog, gisikmahan sa kapalaran, no, these people, the crisis created a further crisis for them. Wala silang internet, wala silang Netflix, nagsarado pang ABS-CBN, no? Maliit yung kanilang bahay, nandiyan sila lahat sa bahay na yan every day, tapos wala pang malinaw na income. So you could imagine the effect of that, no, to the family and in return psychologically to the individual members of the family. At related sa usapin siyempre ng gender po, no? Maraming violence against women were committed during the height of the crisis kasi naka-lockdown sila, no? I think for many families, it's the longest time that they have been together. No? Ako sa married life ko po, no? I've been married for the last 27 years. Ito na yung pinakamahaba na time na magkasama kami as a family, no? Na walang interruption. I don't have troubles. I just stayed at home, never went out during the crisis. So, it's good for me. I have time to be with my family, basahin yung mga libro na hindi ko nabasa, no? Pero for others, may mga pamilya dyan na, crisis na sa kanila, no? Yung kanilang pamilya mismo. Kasi meron kang issue ng violence against women committed by the husband. Or meron mga abuse to children and yet they were locked down together sa kanilang pamilya during the crisis. So para sa kanila, the crisis was a hell. No? Nandyan yung abuser mo, no? Kasama mo sa bahay every day na ayaw mong makasama sana, and yet you are forced by the crisis. So, mas malaki yung hamon na kanilang dapat tugunan sa mga pamilyang yan. No? For children who have dysfunctional families, the crisis was a worse condition. No, to be with your mother, to be with your father, the very people that you don't like to be with every day. Meron tayong mga kabataan, no? For the new generation, they would prefer to be with their friends. Ang problema, they cannot go with their friends. No? So may limitation. So all of this created a light of crisis to ourselves. But our problem, while malinaw naman yung epidemiological side of the crisis, kailangan natin ng physical distancing, hindi po social distancing. Kasi the more we should be close with each other socially, because we need social solidarity this time, no? But what we need to avoid, the correct concept, is physical distancing. So how did we respond to the crisis? Ang ginawa po ng ating gobyerno ay una ay nag-deglobalize tayo. We shut down all our airports, seaports. We avoided all troubles kasi nga baka dadalhin ng mga tagalabas yung virus na yan that what will affect us. Then we develop our national program. But our problem of deglobalizing, yung mga bansa, yung mga gobyerno ay dapat ay nag-uusap at nagko-cooperate with each other how to find a solution to this virus. Because at the end of the day, this is a virus. The only solution to a virus is para makadevelop ng gamot. At mahina ho ang global cooperation para that. Ang atin pang problema, pag na-develop yung gamot na yan, hindi natin alam kung magbibenta yung mga bansa na yan sa atin. Ngayon pa nga lang, at the height of the crisis, nagkaletse tayo kasi wala tayong mabiling gamot, wala tayong mabiling mga safety equipment kasi hindi siya available at nag-hoard yung ibang mga bansa. No? How much more kung may gamot na ngayon? Ang tanong, makakabili ba tayo? May magbibenta ba sa atin? No? So yun yung ating problema kasi dapat sa crisis, our government should have developed global solidarity. Second ay sa atin sa Pilipinas, ang ginawa natin ay yung power to decide. Maraming power to decide during the time of the crisis ay nasa national government at wala sa local government natin. Kaya nagrereklamo po yung maraming local government kasi mas alam nila kung paano mag-respond base sa kalagayan ng ating mga lokal, how best to respond doon sa krisis. Pero ang nangyari, national kasi, no? The National Task Force made the decision for everybody at dito tayo medyo nagkaroon ng malaking problema. No? Nag-lockdown yung ibang lugar, pero wala naman sila mga cases. No? So yung mga ganong sitwasyon. So nahirapan yung mga tao, but at the end of the day, nag-open up tayo, napilitan tayong mag-open up kasi babagsak yung ating ekonomiya. And yet, tayo lang ho yung bansa na nag-open up ng ating mga rigid rules at the height of the infection. No, the other day, ang infection po natin, no, the previous day, ang atin pong infection ay umabot ng 1,000. And yet, kailangan nating i-open up yung restrictions kasi nakakaapekto na ito sa ating ekonomiya, tapos marami ng kababayan natin ang nagrereklamo kasi yung pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan nila ay hindi naman natutugunan ng ating pamahalaan. No? So, I think hindi rin nakausap yung maraming kababayan natin, ano nga ba ang nararapat na reply natin sa crisis na ito. So, public participation becomes very limited during this time of crisis. Para sa akin kasi, sa amin sa sociology, the more that we should involve the public in this issue. Kasi at the end of the day, yung kanilang mga individual na buhay-buhay ang maaapektuhan. No? Ang nangyari rin ay naging masyadong militar or militaristic or securitized yung ating reply. So yung mga concept natin na checkpoint, lockdown, no? Person of interest, these are all military concepts. At kaya na-mobilize, naka-frontline yung ating mga militar at yung ating mga pulis. No? Sa tingin namin, dapat yung ating general reply ay i-socialize. So dito sa mga reply ho natin, kapos yung pagtugon doon sa mga problema natin bilang individual at bilang families and groups. No? Ito yung challenge. Kaya marami sa atin no, nagkakaroon ng depression, kasi hindi natin nakikita, walang solusyon yung everyday na mga problema natin doon sa usapin ng values natin ng buhay, hanap buhay, solidarity with others, pakikipagkapwa, na challenge yan lahat ngayon. No? And that brings all these crises today. So, dahil iba-iba yung effect niyan, iba-iba din yung ating responses basically. Pero doon sa mas mga kababayan natin na dahil bago pa man nagka-crisis ay hirap ng kanilang buhay, ito talaga ay dapat nating tugunan. And I think, for an institution of higher learning, ito yung challenge sa atin. No? Paano natin patatakbuhin yung ating mga eskwelahan at this point, given the limitations that were created before the crisis pa nga. Paano yung mga estudyante na walang laptop? Paano yung mga estudyante walang internet connections? Hindi ko alam ang condition dyan ng mga estudyante natin sa Iloilo Science and Technology University. But on my case, for example, half of my students, they can only connect to me through Facebook and Messenger. No? At yan ay hindi pa nila nagagawa everyday kasi sa kanilang mga lugar kung nasaan sila ay kailangan pa nilang hanapin yung signal. No? So, paano natin siya i-maximize online sa ating mga klase? No? And of course, yung ating mga estudyante po no, ay hindi lang nila kailangan na nakakonect tayo sa kanila para sa klase. Maganda rin po, ma'am and sir, na dapat ay kumukonect tayo sa mga estudyante at the height of the crisis itself. No? Hi, hello, kumusta kayo? No? Ako, at the height of the crisis, I make it a point every week to communicate with my students, how are they, etc. Naghahanap kasi ng kausap yung ating mga estudyante kasi minsan hindi nila na-process na talaga yung crisis na pinagdadaanan natin. Sabi nila ay nasa new normal po tayo. But yung new normal natin, hindi ito yung desirable normal para sa marami sa atin. No? I think while we live in the new normal, dapat malinaw pa rin sa ating lahat ano ba yung desirable normal na gusto nating abutin. Kasi mahirap po ma-stack up tayo at tanggapin natin na ito na yung new normal, no? Because this is neither new and this is neither normal. No? Hindi normal yun na hindi mo nakikita yung iyong boyfriend or girlfriend sa mga estudyante natin. Abnormal yun kung text-text lang. No? So, while we are in this particular condition, dapat ay malinaw sa atin ano ba yung desirable condition na gusto natin. For our schools, gusto natin yung desirable na Okay naman na pwede tayo online, pero yung mas desired pa rin ay combination ng online at saka ng face-to-face interaction with our student. 'Di ba? Maganda 'yon na hindi parang every week mo lang nakikita si ma'am, si sir at saka yung mga crush ninyo, okay na 'yon. Pero pag wala, parang hindi okay 'yon, no? Hindi tayo happy na yung ating love life halimbawa ay nasa chat room lang, no? Gusto pa rin natin yung intimacy in the relationship, which is a very, very important thing in every relationships. So, ang challenge sa atin ngayon ay given the situation, paano natin siya itra-transform into a desirable situation. At ito ay nakadepende kung nasaan tayo bilang mga estudyante, bilang mga guro, at bilang pamantasan. I don't have a neat answer what it should be. Pero sa akin, ang basihan siguro natin, yung mga ginagawa ba natin where it build a just and a humane society. As a country, yan po kasi yung ating pinagsasamahan, no? Nakasulat sa ating constitution na we would like to build a just and a humane society. So sa ating mga gagawin sa panahon ng krisis, ito ba ay makatuwiran at ito ba ay makatao? Yun, tingin ko at the minimum, yun yung ating mga basihan sa ating mga gagawin. Makatwiran ba ito? No? It's a question of social justice. Then, makatao ba ito? So, to get through with the crisis is for us to understand what is this crisis all about and situate ourselves. No? Nasaan ako sa krisis na ito? Ano ang epekto nito sa aking sarili? May epekto ba siya? Ano ba ang meaning ng krisis na ito sa inyong mga sarili? And after that, ano ang pwede nating gawin? Both at the individual level, at the family level, at the school level, i-transform itong krisis na ito to something that is more just, to something that is more humane as a community. No? And finally, to find ways, how do we limit the uncertainty of things? Kasi tayo ho, fixated tayo, no? Na-train tayo na ito yung mga normal na bagay. Mag-aral ka, ganito sa school, etc. Halos lahat ng bagay ay certain. Pero ngayon, napaka-uncertain. Mas marami yung uncertain na bagay kaysa mga certain na bagay. Maintindihan ko pag nanligaw ka, uncertain kung sasagutin ka o hindi. Okay lang yun. That's a challenge of growing up, of being teenager. No? Pero ngayon, hindi mo nga alam kung makakapanligaw ka ba at all. No? Makakapanligaw ka ba through the chat room lang or through Zoom? No? Parang napakahirap niya. So, sa sobrang dami ng uncertainty, ito yung nagdadala ng mga krisis sa ating mga personal na buhay. No? So, pero nasabi namin, sociologically, yung personal na buhay natin or krisis na kinakaharap natin ay nakadikit ito sa krisis na dinadaanan ng ating lipunan. So, dapat ay kaya nating i-connect at i-reflect yan. And how we resolve it at the personal level will help us resolve at the social level. I'm sure our next resource person will be able to enlighten us on this personal level na you have your anger, you have your frustration in life, no? You lost hope already. Tapos hindi mo na alam anong gagawin, tapos sabihin sa iyo ito na yung new normal, no? Yun po yung challenge. I think I will end on that particular note for the meantime, and I look forward to listen to our next resource person as well as to hear your comments and questions later. Maraming salamat, madamo gid nga salamat, maayong aga sa inyong tanan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aguha. Maraming salamat po for explaining to our students the root of their anxieties during this crisis. Indeed, things that disrupt our previous day-to-day routine causes anxieties without us really noticing most of the time until someone tells us so. So salamat po. And of course, open communication is very important at this unprecedented time, as mentioned by Dr. Agua. If we don't understand what is going on with us and around us, let us reach out and seek for answers from those who know better and can guide us on what to do. So maraming salamat po, sir. We will be having you again later during the open forum po. Ladies and gentlemen, our next equally brilliant resource speaker will speak on discovering your strengths in the midst of the pandemic. She is an educator, a manager, a trainer, a counselor, a pastoral worker, and a volunteer. She attained her bachelor in Ateneo de Manila University. Her master's degree in theological studies was earned from the Ateneo de Manila University, and her PhD in development education from the University in Santo Tomas. She is a former dean of the Graduate School of Education and Arts and Sciences of the Colegio de San Juan de Letran, Calamba. She was a research fellow of the Korea Foundation for Advanced Studies and a professor in Kyongju University, South Korea. Currently, she is an affiliate professor of the College of Public Affairs and Development of the University Diploma in Master of Social Work and Diploma in Women and Development of the University of the Philippines, Open University. At present, she is an associate professor at the National Teacher Training Center for the Health Professions of the University of Philippines, Manila. Dear students, test.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much po. Okay, so good morning once again to our President of ISATU, Dr. Raul Muyong. Good morning po, and thanks again for the invitation. This is my second time with you. The first time was with the faculty and administrators, this time with the students. And I'm really very grateful for that. And of course, good morning to my fellow guest speaker, Dr. Mario Aguja. Good morning po. And to all our CHED and ISATU officials, once again, good morning. And to all the students, I heard that hindi kayo lahat makapasok sa ating Zoom, no? So most of you are on Facebook Live right now, but even though you are on Facebook Live, I hope you'll be able to really participate with me, no, during our discussion, because as much as possible, no, I would like our interaction to be more, our lecture to be more, how do you call this, interactive, no? So let me just share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, just a moment. Oh, sorry. Yan. Okay, can you see my screen? Ayan. Can you see my screen? Can I hear a response, please?
Yes po, ma'am. Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much.
Clearly.
Okay, Ma'am Jessa, thank you also for that wonderful introduction. Okay, so as I was told, most of our listeners, no, this morning in our webinar are students, and therefore I would like to, as much as possible, tailor fit our examples and discussion, no. to our listeners, to our students. Now, thank you very much, Dr. Aguja. No, you have really set the tone for our discussion this morning. You have made mention of the many changes that has occurred, no, in our everyday life and in our daily activities since the start of this pandemic. And I think we have to brace ourselves because a lot more challenges will be coming, no, in the next few months. Not only days, no, but perhaps in the next few months. Or we don't know, as sabi nyo nga po kanina, hindi natin alam kung kailan talaga ito matatapos. No? And therefore, I think personally, the best thing that we could do now is to discover our strengths. Saan ba tayo malakas? No? Imagine we have survived how many months of lockdown, no? How many months of Zoom meetings and online classes, no? So siguro, especially for the students, sabi nga ni Dr. Aguja kanina, ang daming mga challenges, no? Dati sa bahay, hindi tayo magkakasama. Ngayon, 24/7 tayo magkakasama. And I know some of us, no, hindi tayo sanay doon. So nagkukos sa atin ito ng anxiety, ano pa ng problems, ng mga friction sa ating mga relationships sa bahay. And of course, I'm sure, no, yung tawag dito, yung everyday dati na nagkikita-kita kayo ng inyong mga friends, mga friendships nyo, mga boyfriend, mga girlfriend ninyo, biglang nagbago, no? Pero yun na nga, instead of dwelling on the negative, no, why don't we try to journey together this morning and discover your strengths? Ano yung katatagan ninyo, ano yung kalakasan ninyo na bakit ngayon nagsasurvive tayo, no? So that is what we're going to do together. So to all of you who are listening to me right now, if you have a pen and paper with you, no, I encourage you to do that. Kung nandiyan naman yung phone ninyo, no, I would like you to make use of your notes, no, dun sa inyong phones para sa ganon ay masagot nyo agad-agad, no, yung mga tanong na tatanungin ko sa inyo. Okay? So moving on, so for this morning, I would like you to examine, you know, the relevance of appreciative inquiry and appreciative resilience in times of crisis, such as the COVID-19. Okay, and hopefully you shall be able to integrate the elements of appreciative resilience in your experiences during the COVID-19 crisis. And third is, ito yung assignment ninyo, and I would like you, young people, not to all the students, to please do this seriously. Now, as I said, let's journey together within this 45 to 1 hour, no, lecture that we will have. No, please try to write or document your own stories or experiences of despair, forgiveness, and hope during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the first question that I'd like to ask you, no, and of course, we cannot do recitation right now, no. So please just try to jot down. I'll give you a few seconds, no, to answer this question. No, what was the best thing that ever happened to you during this pandemic? Ano sa tingin mo yung pinaka-best? No, the best thing that ever happened to you during this pandemic. No, I'll give you a few seconds to answer that question. The best thing that ever happened to me during this pandemic. Meron ba? I'm sure meron. Madami. Di ba? Marami kayong na-discover tungkol sa sarili nyo, sa mga kasama nyo sa bahay. What else? Sa mga friends mo. And what is that? What's the best thing that ever happened to you during the pandemic? Okay? So we go to the first major topic that we are going to discuss. Now, this is about appreciative inquiry. How do we define appreciative inquiry? And what does it mean to be appreciative? Okay. Isn't it that when we appreciate, no, we put value into it, no? And usually when we appreciate, we associate some price into it, no? Di ba yung sabi ay ang isang bagay pag na-appreciate natin ay mahalaga. Alam niyo ba kung saan galing yung term na mahalaga? No? Mahal, alaga, talaga. Di ba ang cute? No? Mahalaga, mahal, alaga, talaga. No? So when we appreciate something or someone, no, we put value into it, no, mahalaga siya sa kanya. We put some kind of, we give someone respect, ano pa, we revere, we admire, we honor him or her, right? No? So when we appreciate, it means that that something or that someone is important to us. In other words, kung nababasa niyo dun sa screen, no, ang cute nung ganda nung lady, no, sabi niya, wear that appreciative eye. Di ba during this pandemic, ang hirap makita yung maganda. Am I correct? No, young people, ang hirap, no? Imagine, yung girlfriend mo, yung boyfriend mo, ang tagal mo nang di nakikita, yung mga besties mo, ang tagal mo nang di nakaka-jamming, ano pa. Ang hirap makita ko ano yung maganda. But appreciative inquiry is trying your very best to wear, parang glasses siya, no? To wear that appreciative eye. No? Let me do a demo. Parang gano'n. No? Ang hirap makita ko ano yung maganda. May anxiety, hindi ka makatulog, no? Ang late-late ng bahay, no? Wala kang privacy and all, no? You try to wear that appreciative eye para makita mo yung value, makita mo yung price, ma-esteem mo ang isang tao or ang isang bagay at para ma-honor mo. Okay, so that is what we mean by appreciate. Now, what about to inquire? Diba? To inquire means ask questions. No? So, inquiry means what? No? It's synonymous with discovering what is new or what is better. So, to discover. What else? To search for what is good in the person. To search for what is best in a certain situation. What else? To explore good things that are happening, and it's also some kind of a study. In other words, inquiring or asking question is a continuous process. So, during this time of pandemic, hanapin natin ano yung magandang nangyayari or ano yung magandang epekto ng pandemic na ito. So, in other words, no, appreciative inquiry or AI, hindi siya artificial intelligence, no? It's AI, appreciative inquiry, is the search for what is life-giving and what is possible within people and the world around us. In other words, ano ba yung nagbibigay buhay sa atin ngayong pandemic na ito? Ano ba yung mga possible things that we can do during this pandemic? So, hahanapin natin yon, hahanapin natin siya. No? So, in our present context, no, it is finding what's giving life, what inspires us, what motivates us, no, to get up early in the morning, to work out, to do anything, no, despite this situation that we cannot see each other face to face, no, despite of the fact that we cannot meet our friends, no, hanapin natin yon, ano yung magandang nangyayari. Okay. Now, you have to remember also that appreciative inquiry is intentional. No, 'di ba tayo mga tao, ito, naririnig ko usually dito sa mga young people, ay judgmental, 'di ba? 'Di ba ang bilis or napakadaling maging judgmental, no? Pero ang AI is sinasabi dito is the intentional or it's the deliberate asking what we want to accelerate. Ano ba yung gusto nating ma-improve? Ano ba yung gusto nating mag-grow, no? With the realization that what we appreciate appreciates. I'd like to repeat that, no? AI or appreciative inquiry is the intentional search for something that accelerates, that allows us to grow, and that what we appreciate appreciates. Okay. So in other words, in appreciative inquiry, we build on what is going on smoothly. Ano ba yung bagay na nagpapatuloy, tumutulong sa atin para ipagpatuloy yung buhay natin ngayong pandemic. In other words, let's discover what is working well. Diba? Ano ba yung mga blessings natin ngayong pandemic? Kaya tayo nakakausad araw-araw. Hindi natin alam, sabi nga kanina, kung kailan ito matatapos. Pero every day, we get up in the morning, no? We try our very best, yun yung AI, to discover, what is going to happen, what's something good that's going to happen today. So in other words, AI or appreciative inquiry is focusing on what's working well and not on the problem. Diba? So, isipin niyo yan. So, ito yun ulit. I'd like to jot down, no? What was working well with you during the pandemic? No? Ano yung meron ka ngayon kaya nakaka-survive ka every day despite this pandemic, despite this lockdown, despite these online classes, despite these Zoom seminars like this? Ano yung meron ka? Ano yung, in other words, ano yung blessings mo, no? Meron ka bang gadgets? Or meron ba kayong TV sa bahay? Or nakakausap mo araw-araw yung magulang mo? Alam mo na safe kayo, you know? These are the things that we should dwell upon and not on the issues or not on the problems. Okay. Now, appreciative inquiry is advocated by David Cooper Ryder in the early 80s. Ang sinasabi ni David Cooper Ryder, in every piece of art, there is beauty. Do you agree with that? In every piece of art, there is beauty. So, if you believe in that, pwede nating sabihin na despite this pandemic, this coronavirus pandemic, something good will happen. Okay? Something worthwhile will happen. Something marvelous, no, will happen after this pandemic. Because we believe, according to David Cooper Ryder, that in every piece of art, there is beauty. Okay. Now, sabi natin inquiry. Now, I'd like you to seriously answer this question. What questions do you ask? Ano bang klaseng tanong ang mga tanong ninyo or ang mga tinatanong ninyo? Di ba kasi, kung ano yung paraan ng pagtatanong natin, yun din yung sagot na nakukuha natin. Ito mga biruan lang. I often hear this among young people. Kunyari, gutom ka? Diba? So pag tinanong ka, gutom ka, anong tendency? Magugutom ka nga. No? O kaya sabihin mo ay, ayaw mo? Eh sabi mo, ayaw ko eh. Di ayaw ko na nga. Diba? In other words, parang when you ask negative questions, definitely you get negative answers. So this is the challenge because we need to practice asking positive questions or appreciative questions. So what questions do we ask? Are these questions that open up? Meaning, yung mga tanong ba natin ay nag-encourage sa mga kausap natin para mag-open up? No? Or, where is the question coming from? Why are we asking the question? In other words, you ask yourselves, ano bang motivation ko in asking these questions? No? Do I want to put a person down? Do I want to humiliate someone? Or do I want that person to open up? No? And how can our questions point us towards the future we want, no? Paano ba yung mga tanong natin lead us to the discovery, no, of the answers, no, to our questions? Ano ba yung talagang gusto nating mangyari? So, I'd like you to examine the questions that you ask your friends and your family members and your colleagues. Okay. Now, I'll give you some examples of AI questions during the pandemic. Kunyari ito, instead of saying na, hay nako, pagising mo sa umaga, ay nako, eto na naman, wala akong magagawa. Nandyan na talaga yan. Instead of, that attitude, why don't you ask yourself this question? How can I help prevent the spread of the virus? How can I prevent? Remember, sabi natin kanina, appreciative inquiry is focusing on the solution and not on the problem. So don't focus on the virus. Focus on the solution. Anong magagawa ko? Dapat hindi ako lalabas ng bahay. Dapat I should wear mask. Dapat ganito. Diba? Okay. What else? How can I discover more about myself while I cannot physically meet my boyfriend or girlfriend? Alam mo, ang dami ko nang naririnig among young people na nahirapan na daw sila kasi ilang months na silang nagde-date ng kanilang boyfriend o girlfriend. Alam nyo, instead of thinking about that, I encourage you. Why don't you ask yourselves, how can I be unique? How can I be myself even without my girlfriend or my boyfriend? Ano yung strength ko? No? Again, ask yourself, ano yung strength ko ngayon na nakakaya kong hindi ko siya makikita araw-araw at hindi ko siya nakakausap minu-minuto. Kaya ko palang mabuhay na wala siya. Joke lang, no? But what do you have? No? Kaya ko palang mag-isip ng mga ibang bagay na hindi lang siya, no? O kaya ko palang magluto, no? Na kahit na nagte-text lang kami, ang dami ko palang na-discover about myself. See, focus on the solution. Another one is, what else can I do to maximize my time while I'm home? Yung iba siguro, bored na. Tama? No? Siguro lahat ng mga Korean novela napanood nyo na. Am I correct? No? Siguro lahat ng mga movies, Netflix, no? I Want TV, kung saan-saan pa, no? Napanood nyo na. But try to ask yourselves, how else can I maximize my time while I'm home? Baka naman may mga bagay na gusto kayong gawin noon na hindi nyo nagagawa. Noon na ngayon may time na kayo para gawin. I'll give you an example. In my case, no, sa edad kong ito, no, I long wanted to learn how to play the ukulele. So ngayon, natuto na ako mag-ukulele. No? And I usually jam with my apo. No? Ano pa? Dati gusto kong maglinis ng bahay, ganyan. Hindi ko nagagawa dati. Ngayon, nagawa ko na. What else? Siguro pagluluto, pag-workout, what else? So ask yourselves, what's the solution to this problem, no, that we have during the pandemic? Maximize your time while you are at home. O baka naman, no? Dati-dati wala kayong oras para magkwentuhan ng parents mo or ng mga kapatid mo, walang bonding, no? By the way, no? Kasi lagi nating sinasabi na social distancing. 'Di ba sabi nila, no? It's not daw dapat social distancing. No? We keep physical distancing, but we should be socially connected. No? Don't you know that you can play games online? No, you can do Kahoot games, you can do Zoom games, you can do Zoom karaoke, Zoom videoke, mga ganyan, no? You explore possibilities during this time of the pandemic. Para yung anxiety mo, yung boredom mo, yung depression mo, medyo mababawasan ng kaunti. Okay. So in other words, in appreciative inquiry, you have to consider asking, what do I want more of, not less of? Ano ba yung gusto kong ma-discover? What do I want more of? What do I want to start, not to stop? I should start managing my time. I should start doing my exercise, no? To create, no? Siguro there were times na gusto mo magsulat ng kwento or whatever, or hindi mo nagagawa, do it now, no? What do I want to support and not to prevent, no? What else? What do I want to renew or to revitalize and not to weaken? Yan. So, in other words, in appreciative inquiry, we focus on what appreciates. Kung ano yung nakaka-appreciate sa tao, sa bagay-bagay sa mundo natin. Hindi yung nagde-depreciate. Hindi yung nega, sabi nila mga tao, mga young people. Hindi yung nega. Huwag kang paka-nega kasi. No? Just be appreciative of everything that's happening in your life. So, another question. Again, I'd like you to jot down, no, some of your answers to these questions. What do you want to appreciate? Or what do you want to grow at this time of the pandemic? Ano ba yung gusto mong lumago pa sa'yo? Ano ba yung strength mo na gusto mo pang ma-strengthen, no? Ano yung talent mo na gusto mo pang mag-grow? Ano ba yung skills mo na gusto mo pang ma-develop? Ano yun? Okay, so jot them down, your answers. Now, here's Fred Rogers. No? Fred Rogers is a former TV personality, American TV personality. He's also a musician, a puppeteer, a producer. He's a Presbyterian minister. No? Sabi niya, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. What does it mean? No? Sabi nila during this time of the pandemic, lahat tayo dumadanas nito. And it's okay not to be okay. I'm telling you, young people. Kung nakakaramdam ka ng lungkot, anxiety, depression, okay lang yan. It's okay not to be okay. But remember, there are always helpers around. There are always good people around who can help you and who can guide you through and who can journey with you in the difficulty that you are going through during this time of the pandemic. There will always be people who will be willing to help you. And this webinar, once again, thanks to the president of ISATU for thinking about this. And I really commend what he meant, the president's move to include the parents. Dahil sa totoo lang po, kahit ang mga magulang ako, ay may difficulty in adjusting to the challenges that we are facing right now because of this pandemic. Unang-unang mga magulang, hindi sila sanay na nakikita nila ang anak nila 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No? Yung mga parents na nakikinig ngayon, tama po ba? No? Hindi kayo sanay, mga magulang, na i-juggle yung Zoom meeting ninyo nasa bahay ka nasa bahay ka, hindi naman pwedeng hindi ka magluto. So nagmo-multitasking ka ngayon habang naka-off yung video mo, nagluluto ka. Alam yun, these things, these challenges. So thank you, Dr. President, for including the parents, because I think most of the anxieties and struggles and insecurities or uncertainties that our young people are experiencing right now are brought about by their relationships with their parents during the pandemic. So tulungan tayo, let's help one another. Now, again, let's actively inquire together. So these are the questions that I would like you to answer seriously. Again, if you have your pen with you, your paper with you, jot down your answers. How have you used your strength or your strengths to help you and others during the COVID times? Paano ka nakatulong ngayon? Paano mo nagamit yung strength mo, yung lakas mo, para makatulong sa sarili mo at sa ibang tao during this time of the pandemic? And what is that one small action you can take today to make tomorrow better for you and others? Paano ka makakatulong para sa ganoon ay mas lalong maging maganda yung resulta ng pandemic na ito? Okay. So we are done with appreciative inquiry. Now let's go to appreciative resilience. What is appreciative resilience? Joan MacArthur Blair and Jeannie Cockle, the authors of the book Building Resilience with Appreciative Inquiry, A Leadership Journey Through Hope, Despair, and Forgiveness, give us a clear explanation of what appreciative resilience is. So, itong dalawang authors na to, were the ones who, thought about or adopted what we call appreciative resilience. Now, look at the screen. There's an image or a picture of a bamboo. Diba tayo mga Pilipino, sabi nila, we are very resilient people. Ang bagyo natin, in 1 year, A to Z, may volcanic eruption pa, may earthquake pa, ngayon may COVID-19 pa, pero nakakaya nating bumangon. Okay? So look at that. The bamboo is a very great example of what resilience is. Resilience, sabi dito, is the ability to sustain or persevere in the most complex situations and life experiences. Ito yung kaya mong bumangon. Yung kawayan, kapag natumba, bumabangon ulit yan, straight na straight siya ulit. So ang resilience, ito yung ability natin, especially you young people, to sustain. Kahit na nahihirapan ka, sige lang, gora lang, di ba sabi niyo? To persevere, sige lang, kaya ko pa to, despite most complex situations and experiences such as the COVID-19. So in other words, appreciative resilience is that which sustains us as hope blooms, as despair visits, and as forgiveness opens our hearts. Again, appreciative resilience is that which sustains us, is that which gives us the courage, as hope blooms, or lingers, or as despair visits, kapag dinadalaw pa na yung iyong lungkot, anxiety, insecurity, and all, and as forgiveness opens our hearts. Okay, so that is appreciative resilience. Now, look at this. Now, this is what we call the appreciative resilience model, no, developed by Blair and Cockle in 2018. Sinasabi dito, no, you look at if you look at the model, no, the outer circle, no, talks about AI or appreciative inquiry. No, it talks about AI principles, AI processes, no. But in the inner circle, makikita mo the three circles interlocking each other, no? The circle of hope, the circle of despair, the circle of forgiveness, and inside the core of the whole circle is what you call the appreciative resilience. So yung appreciative resilience natin nagmumula doon sa kung paano natin manage yung ating hope, despair, forgiveness, or yung ating despair, forgiveness, and hope, or yung ating forgiveness, hope, and despair. So they are interlocking, no? Itong tatlong elements na ito. So I said there are three elements of appreciative resilience, and these are despair, forgiveness, and hope. Now, let me begin with despair. Ano nga ba ang despair? No? Despair, ito yung sinasabi natin na the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul. Ito yung experience na wala kang makitang liwanag. Okay? You cannot see a clear path forward. Outcomes cannot be seen. No? Doubts arise. Kumbaga sa term ng mga kabataan ngayon, ito yung mga, ano ba yan? Para kung pinagsakloban ng langit at lupa. No? Hindi ko makita ang liwanag, no? The light at the end of the tunnel, ano pa, hindi ko na to kaya, ganyan. So that's despair. Now, my question is, do you have or did you ever experience despair during this time of the pandemic? Remember, dun sa introduction ko kanina, yung ating learning outcomes, I gave you an assignment. And your assignment was to document or write your experiences. So at this point, ask the question, have I gone through despair during this time of the pandemic? And what is that experience of despair? Kanina yung ating speaker, no, si Dr. Aguha, he mentioned that these days daw, ang dami-daming cases of what? Violence against women, violence against children, no? Ang dami-daming mga ang tawag dito, violence na nangyayari at home and even outside, no? It can be verbal, it can be sexual, it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be psychological. That's causing your despair or have caused your despair, no? So I'd like you to think about that. Meron ba? I'd like you to honestly, walang ibang nakikinig sa inyo, kundi sarili nyo lang, no? Honestly identify that experience. Okay. Now, let me share with you my own experience of despair during the COVID-19. No? What you see on screen are photos of my own daughter, my second daughter, Kelly. I don't know if you have seen some of her interviews on TV or on YouTube or what, no, or have read the articles written about her. But my daughter is a COVID-19 survivor. No? She's a student in Berlin. She's taking her master's under a scholarship of the German government. Now, on March 8, no, during the start of the quarantine, I and my children, no, here sa bahay namin, dito sa, by the way, I'm in Los Baños right now, no, we're also in quarantine. While she was, kasi yung daughter ko, no, yung nag-work sa UPLB, nagkaroon ng exposure with someone who is COVID positive. So we had to quarantine ourselves, home quarantine. Now, at that time, yung daughter ko had a trip, a study tour to Brussels. Ngayon, most of the institutions that they were supposed to visit ay nagsara na, they canceled the study tours. So, kailangan na nilang bumalik. And unfortunately, in her case, she decided to go back earlier. No? Nauna siya dun sa mga kagrupo niya kasi daw ang dami niyang gagawin, yung thesis niya and all. No? So, pagdating niya ng Berlin, that was March 14, she experienced sore throat. No? Nagkaroon siya ng sore throat. Sabi ko sa kanya, siguro ano lang yan, pagod mo lang yan, so itulog mo, magpahinga ka. Never in my mind, nag-cross sa mind ko na baka na-infect siya ng virus. So, March 14, she had a sore throat, and then the next day, nagkaroon na siya ng headache, and then March 16, she was tested. She brought herself, by the way, she lives alone in her apartment. She turned 26, no? Tama ba? 25 or 26 years old a few days ago. And then she lived alone in her apartment. So she brought herself to the testing center, COVID-19 testing center. March 19, she received a call from the doctor. Sabi ng doctor, we're sorry to inform you that we found out you are COVID positive. So, nag-message siya agad sa amin. So, when I received the news, I had mixed emotions. No? I felt so helpless. Alam mo yon, as a mother, parang gusto mong liparin ng Germany para samahan mo siya, and yet you cannot do that. No? I had mixed emotions. No? I was scared of sleeping. No? Natatakot akong matulog kasi feeling ko baka pag matulog ako sa gabi and she will have difficulty of breathing, walang tutulong sa kanya. Baka mamaya hindi na siya makatawag. Alam mo yun, yung tayo kasi yung advance tayong mag-isip, di ba? And the worst of my despair was when I asked my niece, no, who is in Norway, sabi ko sa kanya, anak, kapag ba ang COVID positive Filipino ay namatay abroad at nakremate, inuuwi ba yung ashes? No? Parang sobra akong advance mag-isip na. Dumating na ako dun sa ganung point, and that was the rock bottom of my despair. Okay? Now, what did I do to cope? No, young people, I'd like you to listen to this very carefully because this might help you. No, it worked for me. I don't know if it will work for you. Okay, how did I cope? Kasi hindi pwede. Remember ha, sabi ko kanina, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to feel despair. But remember, despair is not permanent. Hindi yan permanent. You have to help yourself. You cannot dwell on your anxiety or on your despair for a long time. Now, you have to help yourself. So, how did I help myself? Number one, of course, I did a lot of praying. I prayed every day. Halos pagising sa umaga hanggang matulog sa gabi, I prayed a lot. Number two, sabi ko kanina, no, discover your strengths. Ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari ngayon na kaya mong gawin, na hindi mo nagawa noon? Naglinis ako ng bahay, nanahi ako ng, alam mo yung mano-mano, nanahi ako. I listen to music, relaxing music, what else? Yan. Kayo ba, nakikinig na young people? Napanood niyo na ba yung Crash Landing on You? I did. Talagang tinapos ko, no? Para lang ma-relax ako, no? For the first time, I did Netflix, ano pa? I connected with my friends, no? On Zoom, on Messenger, and I requested a lot of prayer from them. And the last thing that I did was, iniwasan ko ang mga negative news online. Hindi na ako nagbabasa pag nakikita ko na tungkol sa rant about the government, rant about the LGUs, yung mga statistics about the COVID-19 positive patients, no? Iniwasan ko na muna yon. No? And that's how I got through my despair during the COVID-19. Again, my question is for you young people listening to me right now, discover your coping. How will you help yourself? It's okay not to be okay, but it's not permanent. So you have to help yourself. Okay? Next, forgiveness. Remember, the second element, no, of AR or appreciative resilience is forgiveness. What is forgiveness? It's that animating energy that makes forward movement possible. And remember, di ba, forgiveness is a choice. It's a deliberate decision that you have to make. To what? To give up resentment, to give up anger, to give up fear, and step forward or step toward accepting things as they are. Alam nyo, ngayong COVID-19, dapat piliin talaga natin yung mga bagay na ikagagalit natin or ikaiinis natin. Choose your battles. Hindi natin kayang lahat i-absorb. Kasi i-absorb. Kasi may mga bagay-bagay na hindi natin kayang gawan ng paraan. Ano yon? The spread of the virus. The only thing that we can do is to stay home. Hayaan ng mga doktor ang mag-discover ng gamot. No? May mga bagay-bagay na out of our control. Huwag na tayong mag-rant, huwag na tayong mag-whine, huwag na tayong magreklamo, huwag na tayong mag-complain. Kasi hindi tayo nakakatulong. Okay. So forgiveness. My question is, are there things that you need to forgive during this time of the pandemic? No? Kaya na mo na bang patawarin yung mga stressors mo? Yun ang tanong. Para maka-move forward ka. Okay. So, how did I experience forgiveness during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic? So, let me continue with my sharing or with my story. So, sa akin, there were 3 things that I needed to forgive. Number 1 is my daughter. Kasi sa totoo lang, she consulted me whether babalik na ba siya ng Berlin ahead of her classmates or hindi. I was very firm in saying, huwag kang bumalik. Hintayin mo na lang sila. Whatever you can do while you're in the hotel, gawin mo na. Kaso, mapilit siya. Alam mo naman, kayong mga kabataan, tama ba ako? Kung anong gusto, maipilit lang. Tama ba ako? So, sige, okay. Nasa tamang age ka na for decision making. So, she went back to Berlin by herself. So, ang tanong ko noon ay, naiinis ako kasi kung hindi siya umuwi mag-isa, baka hindi siya na virus. Tama? Second, naiinis ako at nagagalit ako doon sa mga in charge ng kanilang study tour. Kasi on the first place, alam naman nila na tumataas na yung cases ng COVID-19 sa buong Germany. Sa buong mundo, for that matter. Bakit itinuloy pa nila? Dapat doon pa lang, kinancel na nila. That's the second. Third is, bakit naman of all people? Bakit anak ko pa? Mag-isa siya doon. Kawawa naman siya. Alam mo yan, as a parent, yun yung mga bagay na naiisip ko noon, naiinis ako. But, sabi ko, nandiyan na yan wala naman ako magagawa. Magagalit ako, what for? Diba? What for? Mag-run ka against yung mga namimigay ng ayuda. What for? So sabi ko, it's time to decide to forgive. Hayaan ko na lang because wala na akong magagawa. Tapos na yan So, how did I feel when I started to forgive and say na-resolve ko na, okay na, wala na akong magagawa. Okay? Comes the next element, the third element of appreciative resilience, and that is hope. Remember, yung una is despair, forgiveness, and hope. What is hope? Hope is believing that the future will open possibilities. It looks at what is, yung sabi ko kanina, anong strength mo ngayon, and what might be. No? Have you ever thought of, thinking about what's going to happen after this pandemic? Can you imagine perhaps people becoming more collaborative, people becoming more concerned about their neighbors, people becoming more connected? No? Ikaw din, have you ever imagined yourself becoming a better person, becoming more resilient person, becoming stronger person after this pandemic? Kapag na-discover mo yung strength mo, build on that. No? And try to imagine what's going to happen in the future. Na-discover ko, ang galing ko palang magluto, strength ko pala yon. In the future, that's a future possibility. Baka pwede ka nang mag-put up ng sarili mong, alam mo yun, racket-racket, pa-bake-bake ka dyan, paluto-luto ka dyan. Yun yung what might be. That's the possibility that will happen. Okay? Now, the question is, have you ever experienced hope during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic? Ano yung mga hope ninyo? Tulad nung nabanggit ko kanina, do you hope na mas maging maayos na yung relationship mo with your parents, with your brothers and with your sisters, na mas maging stronger na yung relationship mo with your boyfriend and your girlfriend dahil napatunayan mo na kaya nyo naman pala ng LDR, na kaya naman pala na pa-text-text lang. Although sabi nga ni Professor kanina, yung first speaker natin, Sana hindi maging permanent na gano'n. Hindi yun yung new normal. Because as human beings, di ba, bilang tao, we need physical touch. We need face-to-face interaction. No? We need to interact with one another. Pero at this point in time, imbes na mag-dwell ka sa doon na sana ganito, sana ganon, dapat ganyan, hayaan mo na muna. Isang tabi mo muna and then think of what's the best thing that could ever happen after this. And that is hope. Okay, so let me continue with my story. Yun na nga, no? So when I decided to finally forgive, no, yung inis ko sa anak ko, sa mga organizers, no, doon na ako nakakita ng ray of hope. Ano yung mga sources of hope ko during that time? Number one is Kelly's positivity, my daughter's positivity. Alam niyo po, hindi ko siya nakitang umiyak. Nung ibalita niya sa amin over the phone na COVID-19 positive siya, tumawag siya nung tapos na siyang umiyak. So hindi ko siya nakitang umiyak, hindi ko siya nakitang mag-rant, hindi ko siya naringgan ng any complaint. Her positivity. No? And, to advertise na rin, if you want to know more about what she really went through, no, on the screen you could see Rappler. No, she wrote an article published on Rappler. So you could see yung kanyang diary, yung from day one up to the time na gumaling siya, no? And her positivity was the source of my hope. Ano pa? My family. Imagine, kaming mga mag-anak dito, kasama ko yung 3 kids ko, we were on self-quarantine. Siya naman, naka-quarantine siyang mag-isa. How difficult could that be for a mother like me? No? But my family members were there, no? Alam niyo, tulad nung nabanggit ko kanina, siya, yung anak ko, tsaka yung mga anak ko, na nandito, mga pamangkin, mga pinsan, ganyan. Halos every night, no? Naglalaro sila online. Sasabi ng anak ko at that time, maang saya ko kasi nakalaro ko sila. Diba? So, we may not be physically present, but we can be connected with one another. Ano pa? Friends, no? Friends have supported me in prayers. Ano pa? By the way, ang nagbigay sa akin din ng source of hope was kahit na mag-isa siya sa Berlin, there are a lot of Filipinos, yung iba hindi niya kakilala, nakakatuwa po, no? Kasi nakita yung tweet niya, no? So nag-message lang sa kanya, how could we be of help? Yung iba nagdala ng pagkain, basta iniiwan lang sa kanyang apartment, no? I got to talk with the ambassador, the Philippine ambassador to Germany, no? In-update niya ko everyday kung anong nangyayari sa kanya. So those were all, no, the sources of my hope, no? And then, of course, God, my faith. So, when I started to see some ray of hope, no, some light at the end of the tunnel, sabi nga, I began becoming more, excited about her graduation. No? She will be finishing this coming October, na naging excited ako kasi ang dami nang nagme-message sa kanya, no, na na-inspire sila sa kanya, no, etc., etc. So, yung mga interviews niya, yung mga articles na lumabas about her, no, inspired a lot of people, and specifically or particularly young people like you. Alam niyo po dun sa unang webinar ko with the teachers, I did not share this because I felt like, parang nahihiya ako, no? But last night, when I revised my presentation, I asked permission from her. Sabi ko, can I include you in my lecture? Because my audience are young people. So sabi niya, sige mama, okay lang. Because hopefully, young people are listening to me right now. My daughter's experience will be able to help you. Okay. Yan. So, itong pinakagusto kong quote niya in the article that she has written, I am my cheerleader, or I am my own cheerleader. So, young people listening to me right now, be your own cheerleader. Of course, there are people who could help you, but it's only you. Ikaw lamang talaga, no, ang makakatulong sa sarili mo. So, yung tatlong elements na yon, element of despair, forgiveness, and hope, or pwede rin kasing mag-start sa hope, despair, and forgiveness eh. Pwedeng ganon. I'll share with you one story. An 8-year-old, no? Imagine 8-year-old, nakaka-experience siya ng mga ganong anxiety. Sabi niya sa akin, apo ko yun, no, sa pamangkin, sabi niya, Lola, you know what? Sabi niya, at the beginning of the lockdown, I was so excited. Hope, no? Because I get to be with my dad and mom No, every day, I don't have to go to school. I can, watch the videos that I wanted. So merong hope, no? Pero ngayon, nagkakaroon na siya ng despair. But Lola, now I realize I don't like it anymore. Because I'm missing my friends. I want to play with them. Imagine, 8 years old, ha? Despair. So, ako naman, I'm trying to help her process it na hopefully magkaroon ng forgiveness. So, pwedeng ganun, no? Yung cycle. Basta itong tatlong elements na to, they interlock with each other. So, young people, again, I'd like to repeat, be your own cheerleader. Help yourselves. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not permanent. You have to help yourselves. Discover your strength and start from there. So, before I end my presentation, I would like to invite all of you to put your right hand on your chest. No? Lagay ang inyong kamay sa inyong dibdib. Damhin ang tibok ng inyong puso. Ano pa? Breathe. Now breathe in, breathe out as we do this self-compassion break. I want you to repeat it after me. Okay? May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I accept this moment exactly as it is. May I accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. And may I give myself all the compassion I need. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so I hope you feel better, a lot better. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone, especially you, young people who listen to me. Sana nakatulong ako sa inyo. And remember, your assignment was for you to document and write your experiences now. If you want to share your experiences with me, you can see my email address on the screen, edbicolen@up.edu.ph, or you can look for me on Messenger or on Facebook. Okay? So once again, thank you everyone. In Korean, dun sa mga young people listening to me who are crazy about Korean drama, 감사합니다. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dicolen, for sharing to us your knowledge about AI. I know that our students really appreciated your talk this morning. Pandemic has made most of us, not just the young people, but even the adults, overthink. So anxiety slowly become a real problem for some because we forget to pause and see the brighter side of things. So thank you so much, ma'am, for reminding us that life is beautiful and everything is a matter of perspective and that we have to be kind to ourselves. Okay, so the question that I personally am going to ask myself at the end of the day from the talk of Dr. Dicolen is, how am I going to empower myself so that I can empower others? So dear friends, let us discover our strengths. Let us discover the good in us so we may also discover the good in others. Because when we do, I'm sure that we will all together, hand in hand, survive the pandemic. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Dicolen. Before we start with the open forum, please note that we will be posting the link of the evaluation in the chat box later after the webinar. Please answer the evaluation so that you may receive your certificate for attending this seminar. So I hope that's clear to everyone. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we will have the open forum. You may access the chat box